Hey, how's it going? My name's Nat. Coming up on Newsbreak. New South Wales vaccine milestone. Ronaldo's new international record. And what's wrong with this lyrebird? Before we find out, why don't you hit subscribe? Just like that. 70% of over 16s in New South Wales have now had at least one COVID-19 vaccine. Now the state's starting to ease some restrictions. Here's Leela.
We've done it! We've hit 70%, people! Yes! This is how I imagine it went down when New South Wales hit this big milestone. But with more balloons. Well, that's broken. 70% of over 16s in the state have now had at least their first COVID jab, and that's a big deal.
I just can't thank our people enough. It's been a really difficult couple of months.
There's also going to be some easing of restrictions in Sydney's COVID hotspots. From 5 a.m. tomorrow, people there will no longer be limited to just 1 hour of exercise. While it's good news, New South Wales announced 1,288 new cases today, and the government's still calling on people to roll up their sleeves. People in Victoria are also being told to get their jabs, because the government says reaching 0 cases again is not going to happen.
What we must do is suppress case numbers sufficient to buy us time to get people vaccinated.
The state government's hoping 70% of people in Victoria will have had their first dose by the end of this month.
Cristiano Ronaldo has become the all-time leading goal scorer in men's international football. In his 180th match for Portugal, he kicked 2 goals against Ireland, bringing his total to 111. He's now officially passed Iran's Daei. Ronaldo's still a long way off Canada's Christine Sinclair though. She's scored 187 goals for her country from 303 games. Australia's brand new Antarctic icebreaker is on its way to Hobart. Beg your pardon. The RSV Noyina will transport Aussies to and from Antarctica for the next 30 years and will be the most technologically advanced vessel in the Southern Ocean. It's pretty impressive. Here's Cal.
If you're a big fan of Antarctica and a big fan of big ships, well, you'll love this. This is the research and supply vessel Noyina, and it's on its way to Australia, where it'll soon be the main way people travel to and from the ice-covered continent.
It is very exciting. It just has a raft of different kind of capabilities that we haven't had before.
The $1.9 billion ship has just left the Netherlands on a 24,000 kilometre journey down to Hobart. Australia's last Antarctic icebreaker, the Aurora Australis, was retired at the start of last year, and this big behemoth was meant to take over. But it got delayed because of COVID, and its replacement, the MPV Everest, had a little, engine fire. The RSV Noyina, which by the way means Southern Lights in Palawakani, will transport people to and from Antarctica for the next 30 years.
But what it's really designed for is actually to resupply our stations in Antarctica and the Southern Ocean, and also to answer the big scientific questions of the next 30 years.
Now it's time to check in with the animal kingdom and its sometimes strange relationship with humans in a segment I'm calling he thinks he's people. First to Toronto in Canada, where a weather report is about to get an unusual visitor.
Yes, Storm is in the building, getting some treats, walking on thin air.
But everybody seemed pretty chill with it, and no attempt was made to remove the hound from the premises.
And Storm's just walking around looking for snacks.
Looking for snacks. He's getting dinner soon.
Nicely done, Storm. Here's some goats doing what goats do best, eating things. This flock of hooved mulchers is being employed by the Rural Fire Service in New South Wales. Their job is to munch through as much bush, bramble and grass as they can to help firefighters reduce fuel loads, so that if a fire does go through the area, there's less stuff to burn up. The bird from the 10-cent piece! They made it a real thing! No, just kidding. Echo the lyrebird lives at Taronga Zoo in Sydney, and the one thing about lyrebirds is they're famously good at mimicking sounds. Even human sounds. That is uncanny. Well, that's all the news we've got for you today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.